Space Command move. This is genuinely huge for national security and definitely a big win for Huntsville, Alabama. The report really captures President Trump's excitement. He's quoted saying, "I am thrilled to report that the U.S. Space Command headquarters will move to the beautiful locale of a place called Huntsville, Alabama, forever to be known from this point forward as Rocket City." And, the report even included emojis, a rocket and a flame. So it really kind of drives home the energy around this decision. It feels like a statement, doesn't it, about American ambition?
Oh, absolutely. And connecting it to the bigger picture, this isn't just about, moving some desks around. The report is very clear. This reverses a decision by the last administration. It explicitly says that previous decision was driven more by politics in Colorado than strategic need. So this move puts Alabama's aerospace, think about their history, the specialized workforce, Marshall Space Flight Center right there, puts it front and center to boost our national security. It's about using what works.
Right, leveraging proven capabilities.
Exactly. And that Rocket City name, it's not just catchy, it signifies that this is the natural home, the logical place for Space Command. It's already synonymous with space and defense. The report frames it as getting back to prioritizing what's best for America's defense, not just political games. It's about optimizing our edge on the high frontier.
Okay, you mentioned the high frontier. For listeners maybe not tracking space strategy day to day, what does that really mean? Why is dominating that frontier so vital?
That's a great question. Crucial, really. When the report talks high frontier, it means space itself, the domain. And it's way beyond just launching satellites. We're talking critical comms for the economy, for daily life, GPS, obviously, but also advanced surveillance, early warning systems, missile defense. It's all up there.
Okay.
So dominating it, as the report puts it, means making sure our capabilities are better, stronger, and importantly, protected from threats. And those threats are real. Anti-satellite weapons from rivals, potential attacks on our space infrastructure. Putting Space Command in Huntsville, a place already buzzing with innovation and defense work, directly tackles that need. It's about maintaining our lead in this new battleground.
And this is where it gets really, really interesting for folks on the ground, for American families. President Trump's projection, right from the report, it's just huge numbers. This will result in more than 30,000 Alabama jobs and billions of dollars of investment. Think about that. An investment like that doesn't just stop there, does it? It pulls in other businesses, boosts everything around it. It's a massive shot in the arm for that community, for those families. Real growth.
Right. And it begs the question, why this region? What's the deeper strategic and economic thinking? The report stresses that this huge influx of jobs and money, it highlights the importance of putting critical assets in regions that have proven they can handle it, proven defense capabilities.
Like so.
So it's not just about creating jobs anywhere. It's strategically strengthening our industrial base, our tech lead, right where it counts. The president's goal, stated in the report, is crystal clear. Ensuring America's unchallenged superiority in space amid rising threats from foreign competitors. Anchoring Space Command in Huntsville. That builds a powerhouse, an engine for space defense tech that's hard for anyone else to copy. It secures our spot on that high frontier, uses existing expertise to build even stronger defenses, and ties our economic future directly to our national security.
Okay, so from securing the high ground in space, we now have to turn our attention closer to home. Much closer. The report shifts to a really somber, urgent topic, and it demands our attention. The numbers out of Chicago just this past weekend, honestly, they're chilling. A reporter noted 54 shot, 7 dead. Just one weekend? These aren't just numbers on a page. This is a tragedy playing out, a crisis. It's a stark reminder that basic safety is still a struggle in too many American communities.
And what's really revealing is the contrast the report draws in how this is being handled. It quotes Illinois Governor Pritzker saying, essentially, big cities have crime. But then the report details President Trump's reaction. This is completely unacceptable, full stop. And it points directly to the success his administration had in bringing down crime significant in Washington, D.C. as proof. Proof that, quote, Americans don't have to live this way.
Right.
The report connects this ongoing violence in Chicago directly to what it calls years of Democratic policies that have undermined law enforcement. It highlights the urgent need for federal intervention to restore order and protect innocent lives, just like they did elsewhere. It's a strong critique. When it mentions lenient approaches, it's often talking about things like reduced bail, maybe decriminalizing certain offenses, less aggressive prosecution. Policies may be intended well, but which the report argues have weakened accountability and, frankly, emboldened criminals. It's calling for a different strategy entirely, one that prioritizes safety.
And the report doesn't just talk policy. It brings in a voice from the ground, a powerful one. It highlights a Chicago resident, someone living this reality, who spoke out, saying the people of Chicago deserve more than streets plagued by violence, streets they feel state and city leaders have let happen. And they put it so simply, so powerfully, they deserve to feel safe. The crime should not take over the city. I mean, that's not a radical demand, is it?
Right.
It's fundamental, basic security.
Absolutely. And connecting that personal plea back to the policy discussion, these voices demanding safety, they directly reflect the consequences. The report links to those lenient approaches. Approaches that, according to the report, allowed disorder to really take root and flourish. It underscores what the report calls the necessity for accountability and stronger measures to prioritize community well-being over ideological experiments.
Right.
It's a stark reminder, isn't it? When basic safety isn't the top priority, the human cost is just immense, tragic. These aren't abstract debates. These are people, families, communities asking for the security every American should have. And the report makes it clear this isn't just Chicago's problem. It's a national concern needing decisive action.
Okay, moving now to another critical area, national security again, but demonstrating very proactive defense. The report includes some breaking news from President Trump about anti-drug operations. He stated very directly, "We just, over the last few minutes, shot out a drug-carrying boat." And there's more where that came from. These came out of Venezuela. That's not just talk. That's immediate, decisive action against a major threat to our country's health and safety. A really firm stance.
Yeah, and it's fascinating how the report frames this. It calls these operations a demonstration of a firm stance against regimes that enable narco-trafficking. So it's not just about stopping one boat, you see. It's part of a much bigger strategy. And the report explains why that strategy is so vital. These regimes, often sponsoring this trafficking, they're not just pushing drugs. They're funding illicit networks, sometimes even tied to terror groups. They cause massive instability regionally.
Okay.
So the immediate impact of actions like this, as the report details, is effectively disrupting supply chains that fuel addiction and instability in American neighborhoods. It's more than just a tactical win. It's about shielding communities across the U.S. from harm that originates, often from hostile state actors. It's protecting public health and national security at the same time. And it sends a very clear message. This won't be tolerated.
All right, let's wrap up with one last item. A moment of presidential observation on media coverage. And the report includes a classic President Trump emoji C, which, tells you something about the tone. He was responding to what the report termed the latest delusions of the radical left. He said, "Last week I did numerous news conferences. I didn't do any for 2 days, and they said there must be something wrong with him. Biden wouldn't do them for months. Nobody ever said there was ever anything wrong." It definitely highlights what many see as a clear double standard in media treatment.
And it raises that important question about journalistic standards, doesn't it? The report points this out directly. It talks about the unequal media attention, how a brief pause in press conferences gets treated versus, as it says, extended absences under previous leadership.
It frames this as exposing inconsistencies in journalistic standards, especially, it notes, when transparency has been markedly higher in the current administration. It's sort of less about simple bias, maybe, and more about that complex relationship between the press, the presidency, and public perception. How incumbents are covered versus challengers, maybe changing expectations for communication. It definitely makes you question if the focus is always purely objective or if sometimes, narratives take over.